Huh. Dagwit.
Hi, I'm Ben.
And I'm Stefan.
Can we just do these on public holidays forever?
Yeah, I know, right?
You know
It's so
you
easy
know
to
how
get
easy
here.
the drive was here? We're going to come out 5 times a year, and it's just going to be on public holidays.
And that's Animating in Threes. Come on,
On
Stefan.
public holidays.
And here's Michael.
I'm going to start again. So we're Animating in Threes, a podcast where 3 guys talk about animated movies and shows from an animator's perspective. And today we'll be talking about Toy Story, the classic 1995 film.
I thought you were talking about Child's Play.
No, I want to. No, I don't. Before we start talking about Toy Story, though, we'll be talking about Toons we've tuned into.
Oh, I can't
Shoot in
wait
the
for Mr. Magoo.
Boop.
As you can tell, Michael and Stefan really love that title.
We love that name.
I love the whole podcast.
So, Michael, what have you been watching animated-wise?
It was lucky I watched Toy Story. I finished it at midnight last night.
Which is...
It's 70 minutes long. It shouldn't have taken me that long.
It's not 70 minutes.
It's so short. I was
It's about
elated
90 minutes.
to find out how short it was. It's like, I thank God for the technological restrictions of 1995. They couldn't render anything more than 95 minutes because the building would explode.
It's kind of like your reason why you don't put more than 90 minutes into the podcast.
Yeah, because I'll blow up this building.
What have you been watching, Stefan?
Well, I can't talk about Star anymore, so that's kind of sad. But I have been continuing to watch Hilda, the Netflix animation.
Okay, what are you up to?
I'm up to episode 6. Basically, Hilda's just joined the the Sparrow Scouts, sorry. And it's just so fun. I love it so much. It's just a fun, really energetic and just playful show. I love how they do the trolls. There's a bit more troll action in these episodes. And how they handle mystical creatures is really nice.
Yeah, what did you think of that guy from Underground who has that annoying voice?
I actually liked him. I'm
Yeah,
used
he's
to,
fun.
like, those people with annoying voices. He reminded me of Iago from Aladdin.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, but the gravelly voice works for him. But no, I really loved it. And have I been watching anything else? Oh yeah, I've been just continuing Generator Rex.
Okay.
It's
That one show we don't have any interest in.
no, it's fun. I get where it's trying to get where the hype about it comes from, because it has a lot of action and it has a lot of set pieces that for animation are really interesting. But I just want to see how it goes before I really talk about it more.
Okay. And you also finished Uncharted 4.
I did.
He really liked it.
It was amazing,
Oh,
Michael.
did you like the ending?
No, I loved it. I don't want to spoil anything just in case people haven't played a game from like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely spectacular. I loved
it
every
great?
moment.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
What have you been watching animated-wise, Ben?
So I watched the first episode of the new Archer series. Archer Season 10. I think it's called 1999 or 2099.
Aren't they all set in like different decades, or they take
Yeah,
the
so
aesthetic of a certain
ever
decade?
since the end of Season 7 when Archer went into a coma, because he pretty much died, but he didn't. Just barely escaped.
Yep, that's
Anyway,
what a coma
so
is.
he's in a coma right now. So each season since then has been just like a different setting whatsoever. So
So is
first
he still
one-
in the coma?
Yes.
Oh.
So the first one, he was in like this detective noir setting film back in like the 30s.
Oh
or
yeah, I
something.
remember seeing advertisements for it. Yeah.
And season 9 was Archer in Adventure Island, where there were cannibals and everything. And Cyril was a Nazi.
See,
So
when
that was-
regular shows do this, I feel like they stick with this gimmick for maybe a 3-episode like big parter at
But no,
max.
this is just
no,
full
3 seasons.
Yeah, but no, this one's set in space and it's very reminiscent of Aliens. And
Okay.
Alien. So yeah.
Does
okay.
the animation change considering they're in space, or is it still like that rigid, like
Oh,
flash-looking
it's still
thing?
the same.
I
But
really
they-
like it. I think it's unique.
Yeah, but like they obviously improve it and polish it and everything as
Yeah,
the
okay.
seasons go. But it's still the same style.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like a 60s kind of marketing render of a character.
It's very pop art.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that works. I mean, I can't imagine that style in space. Like,
yeah.
that seems really odd to me. That's why I asked if it was a different style.
So today I'll be talking about Toy Story, the very first 3D feature film of all time.
It is.
Yes, so that answers your question, Stefan.
Yeah, that was the first thing I was going to ask.
To start this discussion, I need to bring it back to Star Wars, like every good thing that I talk about. Following the success of Star Wars, George Lucas was looking to make something that would help change how effects would be done in the future of cinema.
The Phantom Menace.
So in 1979, he recruits Ed Catmull, who was someone who engineered and pioneered 3D technology, to be in charge of the Lucasfilm computer division. So Lucas wanted them to create state-of-the-art technology that could do a few things. They wanted it to be a non-linear digital film editing system, a non-linear digital sound editing system, a laser film printer, and something to further explore the computer graphics of the time.
By non-linear, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you know how if you have like a roll of film, like how they used to do movies and stuff, you would have to like probably do everything like sequentially?
Okay, yep, I get what
So
you
you
mean.
could just like work on that part.
So
and
you
then
could
work
like
on that
isolate
part.
and compartmentalize like scenes and work on those.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
assuming that's what that means.
Yeah.
So you're saying he was one of the first people who innovated that sort of filmmaking?
But like all digitally though.
digitally, okay, yep.
In 1982, this group accomplished the very first computer animated sequence to be used in film, which was the Genesis effect in Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan.
Ah.
Have any of you ever seen that movie?
I've seen that
or
bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
So basically, it's like this planet on a computer screen where it's like completely dead, and then it's overcome with all this vegetation and lakes and everything.
Okay.
So yeah, it was very groundbreaking at the time, and it actually still looks all right to this day.
Wow.
Yeah. And then a year later, they created the very first film resolution image. And I've looked at this image, and it does not look good. So it's
What's it a picture of?
it's literally just a picture of a road along these mountains and stuff, but it looks like PlayStation 1 graphics. So at the time,
What year was this?
83.
Okay, so,
So in
yeah.
the 80s, that would have been good, but if you look back at it now, like it's
Yeah, it's the first step away from just like standard compositing. So yeah.
So the same year in 83, John Lasseter joins the division, and shortly after, they create their very first animated short, The Adventures of Andre and Wally B.
Do you know what John Lasseter did before he accompanied this project?
He was just an animator at Disney.
Is John Lasseter the one that's kind of problematic now?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
We're going to be talking about him purely from
They can
what he's done for 3D instead of him as a person.
Yeah.
So, you know.
just staying with the facts.
Yeah.
Was he a 2D animator?
Yes.
I assume not stop motion. Disney didn't do stop motion.
And John Lasseter, the reason why he got into 3D was because he saw some test footage from Tron. And he was like, okay, this is going to be the next big thing. But he didn't view it as the newest form of animation, but rather just a tool for animation. Which
Yep.
I think is a good thing
That's
to
a
do.
good way in viewing it. Because
Yes.
animation doesn't change no matter what medium you use.
In 1986, Steve Jobs buys the division from Lucas and establishes it as its
course-
own company,
Of course
Pixar.
he did. Oh really?
Yeah.
Is that? Oh yeah. Cause
So it was called the Lucasfilm Computer Division, right?
Yeah, because they have some kind of partnership with Apple Computers. I remember a lot of their products are in Pixar films. Is that true?
Yeah.
Did I make that up?
Maybe. Well, the Wally sound is a Apple computer booting up.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Huh.
But we're not here to talk about Wally, except for the Adventures of Andre and Wally B.
Ah.
Have you guys ever seen footage
Yes.
of that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
In that film, it boasted like high computer graphics at the time and like the very first character animation in 3D as well. No, but the same year as that came out, Lasseter released his own film, which was Luxo Jr. as well.
Okay, yep.
Because it's far easier to render materials than it is like anything organic. I think that's partly the reason why why they chose a story. Sorry,
Based on toys.
based
rather
on
than
toys and
humans.
inanimate objects rather
Yeah.
than humans. Yeah, because it's easier to render plastic or like do bump mapping on plastic than it is on human
Yeah.
skin.
Well, I'll get into some stuff like that.
Because Andy
shortly
is
on.
horrifying.
Luxo Jr. Was nominated for Best Animated Short.
Good
the
on
next
it.
year. And in '88, Lasseter's next film, Tin Toy, came out.
Wait, sorry, did you say it won?
No, it didn't.
Okay.
Just nominated.
Tin Toy is horrifying. Have you watched it?
Yeah.
The baby scares me.
Yeah, everyone remembers the baby. No one remembers everything else about that film.
Well,
It's
the
all-
thing is, that was probably one of the first instances of like an actual human being presented in 3D.
And they decided to choose something that could easily look like a potato monster?
Yes. And something that Lasseter found while working on this was that it was a really nice juxtaposition to be doing the point of view from a toy rather than a human. Because that hasn't really been done in animation before. If you think about all the Disney films that came out.
It's always people, always characters.
Or anthropomorphic animals and such. So yeah, it was So having that point of view where you're really small compared to everything else in the world, he really found that interesting.
It's kind of interesting how limitations in technology kind of informs what stories that they're able to tell. Like that,
And what ones interest them.
yeah, like it's kind of interesting that Disney being kind of the standard, like the high standard of 2D animation, is obviously able to draw characters that you can emote to, and they can humanize. They can have human characters and have them be at the forefront of their films. But Pixar doesn't have that luxury. Like they have to do inanimate objects, or the whole stable for Pixar for the longest time was just things that shouldn't be able to talk.
Yeah.
But that's where it builds into what you were saying with they liked that perspective
Yeah.
because it was a different perspective. So
Yeah.
it feels less of a limitation so much as...
Limitations make innovations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. Yeah.
So over the next few years, Pete Docter and Andrew Stanton, which are higher ups at Pixar, joined the company, and they started doing commercials with Pixar tech. So originally they were just like doing short films and commercials, which is very similar to how Aardman started out as well. If you listen back to the Wallace and Gromit episode, in 1991, Disney and Pixar announced that they have made an agreement to make at least one fully 3D animated film.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
Did Disney always own Pixar?
No.
Oh.
That was in 2007.
Wow. Okay, that was way later than I thought.
It's more of a partnership at this, like, beforehand.
Okay, but now it's just a flat out buyout. They own
Yes.
that company. It's a
Yeah.
subsidiary. Yeah.
So yeah, and the reason why Disney decided to do this move was because of the success of The Nightmare Before Christmas. Nightmare Before Christmas, that wasn't originally a Disney film. It was a partnership with another company of... I forgot what it was.
Touchstone Pictures?
Yeah, that's right, Touchstone.
Okay, it's really lucky that there was a poster in here that I could read off.
But yeah, so because of the success of that film, they decided, okay, we'll give Pixar a shot to do one full film.
So are you saying that we can thank The Nightmare Before Christmas for the birth of Toy Story
You
in
can
3D
thank
animation?
Tim Burton and Henry Selick.
Henry Selick, not Danny at all.
To come up with the idea of Toy Story, John Lasseter, Pete Docter, Joe Ranft, and Andrew Stanton tried to come up with the story. And if you don't know who they are,
We don't either. Moving on.
Pete Docter, he directed Monsters, Inc. and Inside Out.
Oh, wow.
Andrew Stanton, he directed the Finding Dory and Finding Nemo films and WALL-E. And Joe Ranft, he died in 2005, but he's always been working on stories throughout Pixar. And he also co-directed Cars, the first one.
Ooh.
There's a lot of the big names
I
in
actually
that,
think
though.
the first Cars is a decent film.
Oh, it's
So-
okay.
Yeah,
It's fine.
but that's a lot of big names on the one
and
film. That's great.
They've been working through Pixar for many years, which I think is good. Because they have like a lot of experience with 3D and how.
To be fair, it was their
pipeline
first
works.
project, so you'd expect a lot of the people who went on to do better things started on that. Yeah.
And would also stay with the company for a few projects.
Their thoughts. They wanted to do originally something like Tin Toy, and one of the ideas they had for Tin Toy at that stage, if they were going to do a sequel, was having the Tin Toy being teamed up with a ventriloquist dummy. But then it eventually evolved into the Tin Toy being replaced by a small Buzz Lightyear.
Ah.
Yeah. And they wanted it to be like a karate chop action figure, which obviously comes into Toy Story.
Yeah, that makes it into the final cut, doesn't it?
But yeah, eventually they changed Woody from a ventriloquist dummy into a pull-string cowboy doll.
That was such a good decision.
Yeah, apparently it creeped out one of their higher-ups at Disney, and that's why they changed
Which
it.
one, the ventriloquist?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of course it
ventriloquists
does.
are constantly creepy.
But the thing is, they used a ventriloquist dummy throughout a lot of pre-production. But yeah, they changed it, and apparently the pull-string doll was inspired by John Lasseter's very own Casper doll.
Oh,
he
cool.
had, that he still had from when he was a kid. And let me tell you, that Casper doll is so creepy. It's creepier than any ghost you'll ever see. And it sounds very decrepit and like a demon.
That's so creepy because Casper's like the most adorable
I
character
know.
ever. How do you even make that look scary?
It's just because it's old and it's like all the browning and all that. And
Ugh.
the voice box is all like very old. So they spent 3 years on the story and storyboarding, which is quite a long time for pre-production. Because usually you think, oh, a film takes 3 years to make, like throughout the whole thing. But seeming as this was the very first animated film, they really need to take their time.
Yeah, definitely.
And originally they were going to start off with 8 animators. 8.
What?
8, that's
For
it.
the whole film, because at the time, like, they hadn't done a full animated feature. So no one knew what they were going to need. And they underestimated a lot.
And there's
of
probably a lot of
things.
people who wouldn't even know how to use the software.
Yeah, but they ended up using 33 animators.
Did they have to teach them on the job how to use the software?
I'm guessing because it's like 3D animation isn't like completely new by this time,
Okay.
but it is.
It would have been the first time for such intense character
yes, definitely.
animations, though. Like, they would have had to learn how to do face rigs, have to do, like, limb motions, all that sort of thing.
And originally they had 300 processors to render the film,
Oh, goodness,
But
that's
now-
so much.
but now they have over 23,000.
What?
So-
Even more?
And I presume
Yeah.
they'd be much more powerful as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, they could actually render Toy Story in real time with the amount of tech they have now.
They do an admirable job of like simulating light, and kind of refraction through glass and helmets and things. But there's very little in the way of like physics simulation. From what I know, again, I'm not an expert, but from what I noticed is watching it, that there's not much in the way of cloth or liquids.
Surface
Yeah,
shaders,
definitely.
there's none of that.
Yeah. There's no like subsurface scattering.
Yeah, I hate that so much.
There's none of it. Everything is just kind of a very low poly model with kind of
To explain some of the stuff Michael's saying, so shaders are what every single object has. And a shader is what gives every object color, what gives it texture, and just what brings it to life other than just a grey blob.
the bit where I noticed that it's a little bit rough around the edges is that it's one of the first shots when Andy sticks his hand out. And
Do you want to talk about this when we start talking about the film?
This is very quick. You know
Okay.
when he pulls him aside and it's a title reveal?
Yes.
The polygons in his arm are contorted unnaturally in that shot. And you can see where like the texture really roughly distorts and wraps around points when like the polygons intersect.
Yeah, the stretching and the distorting is very obvious in some sense.
Yeah, like the texture mapping is very slightly off. It's in the more like organic shapes, but with like especially Buzz because he's made of plastic. It's basically flawless.
Yeah.
It looks really. You can still see seams and little bits when like the animation kind of clips through itself. I mean, sorry, when the models clip through themselves.
We're not going to talk about Lasseter doing any of the creepy stuff he's done, but
Yeah.
just to I don't want to like
We're not that kind of podcast.
and I don't want to like commend him too much for that reason, but apparently all of his character work was something that everyone in Pixar and Disney really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Like even though like throughout the pre-production, Woody was a bit too much of a jerk. Like everyone really
That
liked
still
what
carries
he was doing.
over a lot into the film.
Yeah, it does,
Sure.
but he was like a lot, like a
I
really
think-
big jerk.
I think how just unapologetically kind of bitter he is really funny throughout the entire thing.
It's odd for a animated hero though to be such a bitter character.
But he's likable despite that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's very human.
Yeah.
which is something that
odd.
everyone at Pixar really enjoyed. How he brought these toys, something you wouldn't expect to be human, and just be like very base modelly and everything, just to be very human.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's much funnier than I remember as well.
Buzz Lightyear was originally going to be a lot more superhero-like, but then when Tim Allen went into voice Buzz, he really brought something else rather than just being all stoic and everything. So they had to kind of rework the character. Tom Hanks was the first choice for him to play Woody. So what they did to convince him was get one of his lines from Turner and Hooch, which was one of the Tom Hanks films, and then the animated Woody to that. And as soon as Tom Hanks saw it, he was like, okay, I've got to join this film, because he really enjoyed that test footage. A lot of the personalities of the toys, such as Mr. Potato Head and Rex, are based around the actual toys themselves and the limitations and everything they have. So, like, when Lasseter was thinking of, like, a Tyrannosaurus Rex and, like, a toy with cheap plastic arms that were really small, he was like, okay,
He'd be
because of that,
insecure, yeah.
Rex is going to be really insecure. Or Mr. Potato Head, with his face always coming off, he'll be really grumpy about that. So let's have that be one of his major personality traits. Which I think is a really clever way to, like, instantly know what that character is like.
Yeah, when you're using the character's own design to base the personality, it also makes sense to the audience, because the audience can look at that character and go, yeah, I know immediately what this character's going to be like and what he's about.
Who voices Mr. Potato Head?
Don Rickles, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, because Mr. Potato Head is Estelle Harris, I think, and she's great in everything.
For 3D modeling, they had a lot, for the objects and stuff, I think it was either, they had 2,000 objects in the film, or something similar to that.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
wow.
gonna say it's like a standard film now would
so
Skyrocket.
because I noticed that there's some parts when they hide the fact that they don't have 3D assets. I remember I think at the very end of the film when it hard cuts the establishing shot of the house during Christmas time. I'm not sure, but I'm 90% sure a lot of that is just like a two-dimensional mat.
Yeah?
Yeah, yeah. Go back and look at it in HD. I'm pretty sure like the snow isn't like a lot of the peripheral stuff in that scene is a two-dimensional image.
Okay.
May make sense.
But yeah, so they had a lot of character sheets and model sheets and everything for people to model off. But for the more difficult things like Buzz's face and like all the faces, because no one had really done modeling to that detail, what they did was make a clay model, which is called a maquette, for those who don't know, and they had to 3D scan it.
So
all the
they
way
used
back
three-
in 1990,
Is that
whatever.
is that still standard?
No.
Okay, because I remember Ice Age used to do that as well.
So what they did with the maquette was they literally drew on the polygons where it was going to be.
Wow.
Yeah, and then they would 3D scan it. It would take a while for each point to register. And then it would just appear on the computer, and then that's how they got the base model for the faces. But to get the base shape, they did 3D scanning with what they called a digital wand.
Oh, okay.
That sounds really fun.
I remember watching special features on one of the Ice Age films, and they do that clay scanning as well. It's really impressive. Like the clay models in themselves is like an art form.
Yeah, I know,
it's like-
because it's just sculpting.
Yeah, and they're beautiful. They look incredible. Like these perfectly kind of sculpted busts of characters. Amazing.
And the last thing I want to say is to animate, they used very similar tools as to what we do today, except for it was a lot more manual and everything.
Yeah, I'd assume so. Yeah.
Every 3D character has a rig, which is basically a skeleton inside of them, and every rig has controls and stuff. So basically, if I were to use it in terms that people who don't know what I'm talking about is, so basically you have a car, right? You have the skeleton, which is the axles for the wheels, and you have the things you're moving, which is the actual character itself, or the tires, say.
Did you have a tutor that gave the same analogy?
No, I made it up.
Okay. It sounds like something you tell a class.
And what a controller does is like control where that rig goes, right? So basically that's the steering wheel for the car.
Oh.
But imagine instead of turning the steering wheel, they had to manually input how many degrees you want to turn the steering wheel. That's what they had to do for
Is
this
this the
film.
basis for like keyframing?
No, this is the basis of how you just
trying to
control
move
animators,
the
move a
thing.
character.
Yeah.
So instead of like grabbing,
Instead of being able to like grab an arm and move it up, they'd have to type into a little box and say 30 degrees, and then it just automatically moved to 30 degrees.
Oh, okay.
But there was no
so
way.
you have to almost like you have to menu type like coordinates almost.
Yeah.
yes,
Like the trajectory of the arm.
That would have been
Oh,
a nightmare.
What can
Because you can't see what you're doing.
I know.
So what is it now?
So you have controllers. So you literally grab a controller on the elbow and you move it around like. This.
Okay, so it's all like clicking almost.
Yeah, but obviously you don't just animate like that. You also use graphs and everything,
Yeah.
like to try to get.
Yeah, to get the best movement and control the interpolation of each action. But it's basically an easier way. You can visually see where you're moving your arm as opposed to just guessing what number will get you there.
I like how most of this is just teaching me how to animate. Does Pixar? I'm not sure if you have this written down, but does Pixar do much mocapping?
I don't think they do. I'm guessing they use a lot of reference footage nowadays instead of mocapping.
Yeah. Because I don't. Yeah. I mean, this obviously isn't.
Yeah.
Toy Story isn't.
However, they did use a lot of reference footage. For example, like with the army men. This is a very famous
yeah,
instance. They
I've seen-
literally
yeah.
nailed bits of board to their shoes and then tried to walk around like
They
army
nailed
men.
it to their feet.
No, to their shoes. Not to their
ow,
feet,
ow.
to their shoes. To their shoes. So it didn't go into their
Just leaving
feet.
these bloody streaks off
There's
of it.
so much blood.
Yeah, so that's a very famous example. And speaking of the... Oh, I'll get into that later, actually. But yeah, that's all of the build-up to Toy Story.
Awesome.
So, Toy Story. What do you guys think of it?
I loved it. I thought it was great. I didn't see it. I hadn't seen it in 15 years. Much like everything else we watch on this podcast. I either haven't seen it or haven't watched it in 20 years.
And what about you, Stefan?
I thought it was great. Like, there's not really much to say before you go into it, but I think it still holds up very well as a animation script. Like, the script is so tight.
Really
the
tight
story...
screenplay.
Yeah.
By Joss Whedon, another problematic person.
Yeah.
yeah.
But for different reasons.
Yes.
I was surprised. I didn't know Josh Whedon penned a lot of the screenplay, or at least helped pen the screenplay. But watching it, it is incredibly evident that kind of like snappy, naturalistic dialogue is like all over this. Yeah.
What about you?
It's still one of my favorite animated films of all time. I just love the Toy Story trilogy because I grew up watching Toy Story 1 and 2 pretty much on loop as I was a kid. So I know all these lines off by heart. and I know like every action and every inflection that the characters do, and it's still really enjoyable to this day.
As I remember what Michael said before, it's a lot more adult than I remember it being.
Yeah, same. Because I haven't watched this in quite a few years.
I want to reiterate, it is demonstrably for kids. It is for families.
It's a family movie, yes,
Yeah.
but it feels like, if you ignore the fact that they're toys, it feels like a very adult story.
It's a very mature story.
Yeah, because all Pixar films at their core are about obsolescence anxiety, like the fear of being replaced.
And this one definitely plays
And
into
this one,
that.
is a lot about that, which is a very kind of it's a problem not exclusive, but quite prevalent in older men, like an older men being replaced by kind of a young up and comer.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that so many Pixar films choose to focus on that type of anxiety and that type of kind of emotional problem at their core. Yeah, it's interesting, like that, like their first big kind of venture into a 3D animated feature has, you know, a problem at its core that's so kind of like would resonate, I think, more with an older audience than it would kids, even though for kids it is
Still a fun adventure.
it is a fun and easily followable moral lesson about acceptance and friendship and that kind of thing. Really good. I liked it.
Yeah.
Okay, so as a quick recap of the story, oh yeah, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. I'm pretty sure.
Everyone's seen it.
Yeah, everyone's seen it. Okay, but yeah, spoilers, whatever. So Woody is a cowboy pull string doll, and he's the favorite toy of human Andy. But on Andy's birthday, he gets a toy, which is this action figure hero, Buzz Lightyear, and that soon becomes Andy's favorite toy. And Woody becomes very jealous of Buzz, so he plans to not kill him, but he plans to
Pretty much though.
No. He just wants him to be stuck behind a chest of drawers.
That's exactly what someone who planned to kill someone would say.
That's
It's like,
plan to kill
I
him.
plan to not kill him, but
Anyway, he accidentally pushes Buzz out the window, and then all the toys around him turn against him. So Woody decides, okay, I need to get Buzz back so no one will be angry at me. Instead of, accidentally might have killed a guy, I need to save him. So they get lost at Pizza. Woody and Buzz get lost on the way to Pizza Planet. They catch a ride with the Pizza Planet truck, which is in every Pixar film except for one, I believe.
I think Incredibles it's missing.
Yeah, Incredibles.
Yeah.
That's right. Anyway, so they end up in Sid's house, which is the next door neighbor to Andy. But this Sid guy, he is a psychopath in the making. He blows up toys.
Sid's fine.
Okay, Sid
is a misunderstood, obviously lonely child who's very creative. And aside from bullying his sister, he's fine. He's not hurting anybody. It's not his fault that all toys in the world are possessed.
Okay,
He doesn't deserve to be traumatized by those demon toys.
From the toys'
He's fine.
perspective, he's a psychopath.
He's not a psychopath.
I know. I'm saying from the toys' perspective.
He's more creative.
Okay,
Michael, he severs their heads.
That's fine. That's creative. He's a child trying to express himself.
That
He
is
doesn't know
true.
the toys are alive.
Also,
When he finds out, he's horrified.
in the making of videos I was watching, the animators themselves were saying, oh yeah, Sid's pretty much an animator because of how he dissects toys and tries to figure out how they move and all that.
Yeah. He's a normal kid.
Trapped in this kid's house, they need to try to find a way next door into Andy's house. They think that all the toys that Sid has blown up are zombies and
Cannibals.
yeah, but obviously they're not. They're just trying to help them escape.
There's a lot of talk of murder in this film.
Yeah,
actually.
I know.
Like they do mention like killing quite
Again,
a lot.
it's a very
And
mature
what is death
film.
to toys?
Well, remember, they see one of the toys that Sid blows up, and they actually show it blow up, and they actually have a moment where they're like, oh, wow, he's dead.
Sid buys a rocket and decides to blow Buzz up the next day.
Which is fine.
It's not fine.
He's obviously lonely. Where are his parents?
Yeah, his dad's like an alcoholic.
He
just watching
obviously
TV.
comes from like a neglectful household.
He definitely does.
And he's just finding a creative outlet when he doesn't actually directly hurt anybody else.
Anyway, so Woody actually decides to get over his crutch of Buzz being better than him and decides to help Buzz. And they have a nice little bonding moment at the night.
That also happens because Buzz really gets this existential crisis where he
gets
thinks
depressed.
he's a nobody.
He gets depression.
Yeah, and Woody understands that and goes, look, I know what you're saying. This is my existential crisis. And then they decide they bond, they get over it, and they form up a team.
It's a really tight directed screenplay.
It is.
It doesn't waste any time. I mean, you can't. It takes it takes 900 years to render anything.
So to rescue Buzz, they decide to really traumatize Sid and scar him for life.
Yeah, In any other film, it would be a frightening scene.
We'll get into it later though. So after they traumatize Sid, Andy and his mum are moving house, so they have to try to catch up to their moving truck, and then they do.
That's great. What a good climax.
I know.
What a cute little
I'm not going to explain it now, but they catch
epic
up to
but
Andy's
domestic
house.
climax.
They catch up to Andy's car, and then they're all back together, and they're all happy. And then it cuts to a few months later on Christmas. And then they get a dog, and then they're unhappy, and then it's the end.
I don't think they're unhappy. They're just kind of like, oh no, now we have to deal with a
They're
dog.
very unhappy.
And they look at each other with the expression of like, how will we do this?
Turns out we just tame it. The dog treats him better than Andy does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the plot, except for explained badly. Thank you.
That was explained all right.
So let's get into the animation and everything. Starting
Okay.
from the start. I really like the start. So the start is basically Andy playing with his toys, and it doesn't show it from Andy's perspective. It shows it from the toys' perspective, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so you have like this heroic moment where Woody steps up. There's this really nice swelling music. Also, Randy Newman, he does really great music in this.
He obviously, because he's defined that early genre of Pixar. Like whenever I hear his voice, I think of early Pixar because it feels so handcrafted.
Yeah, there's like, say what you want about Randy Newman, but there is this kind of like very mellow, kind of friendly, like organic
Jive.
Yeah, just like this rhythm to him.
And
like,
they made
it's relaxed. It's smooth, yeah.
And they made a very conscious decision to have the songs, like not have the characters sing the songs, but have the songs be about what's happening.
Yeah, what's happening, yeah.
Okay, so back to the opening scene. Yeah, I've just really enjoyed that. And then you have the opening credits with the main song, You've Got a Friend in Me, which pretty much everyone knows. Do you know it, Michael?
Randy Newman.
It's not the song.
Woody said...
Something that you can really notice towards the end of this You've Got a Friend in Me song, where Andy's playing with Woody in the lounge room at the bottom, is that all the textures for the chairs and everything are really flat.
Yeah.
Like, it's meant to be like all this cloth stuff, but it's so flat and it's not tangible at all.
The one material detail that I noticed in the entire film was like a variation on like primitive either bump mapping or just like manual just manually editing the surface of the model, is at the base of like where the floor meets the wall. In a lot of the shots there are little kind of like little scuffs and imperfections and indentations in the wood. In the paneling.
I'm pretty sure that was just one person's job to do that.
Just to carve imperfections into the wood.
Even that seems a bit...
That's the only part when I noticed imperfections in materials. Like,
but apart from that, it was all just very clean and everything.
Yeah. Everything is kind of flat. Everything is quite flatly lit, and there's not quite a consistent color palette in the film until they get to the Pizza Planet place.
Yeah, I would agree.
What's it called again?
Pizza
Oh, it is Pizza Planet. Yeah. It's so weird because the truck doesn't carry any of the branding for the actual place. Like
apart from the top.
I studied marketing, and like that stood out to me. Like the branding for the truck itself doesn't fit like the palette and the branding. For
because
the
it's
building.
yellow.
Yeah,
it's yellow truck, and everything else in Pizza Planet is like purple and pinks.
Yeah.
And you can notice with the human characters as well. So this is before subsurface scattering was a thing, and what that is basically it allows light to go through a object and.
Yeah.
Like, it has, like, so you can see, like, kind of the blood underneath the skin. But because this doesn't have it, all the humans just look very, like, toys themselves, kind of.
Yeah, kind of plastic and intangible.
There's no depth to the texturing. It's just one layer. It's like they just pasted a color and that's it.
Which is what they do.
There's also there's also a lot of instances of just using textures to hide the master lack of detail. Like I found that a lot of the time they won't animate individual blades of grass. They'll put just a grass texture on like a
and
flat,
then have some grass.
kind of like
like
polygonal
games,
landscape.
pretty much.
Sorry?
Like in a lot of games, which is what they do. They have a flat grass texture, and then they put grass coming out from.
Yeah, but this didn't even have the blades. It was just a flat.
Oh, they did
grass
for some of it.
No, for a lot of it,
Yeah,
but like for when you do like background.
Yeah.
But now they render everything that's on screen. Yeah.
Technology has come far away.
Amazing.
That was 24 years ago. Oh my god.
It's ages. Do we want to start past that opening scene?
Yes.
I'm just also trying to remember what actually happens.
So then we have where the toys actually come to life, and it's this whole big community. which I really enjoyed. How like it's just like a very normal thing for these toys to have this big
Yeah, they have
community.
staff meetings.
Yeah, they have staff meetings, which I find hilarious.
They were talking about like plastic corrosion
Corrosion.
awareness week
Yeah.
or whatever it was. Yeah.
Just all this mundane stuff, and it's really great how Woody, like being a sheriff, like his toy is a sheriff, he's the leader of
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah. He's a
What-
natural fit. He
what,
was built for it. Literally.
Exactly.
What Pixar does really well in terms of animation screenwriting is setting up, because they have characters and situations that are very unusual, they set up the first act, which is meant to be the normal, what the usual stance is before the change in story very well. Like, they set up, this is normal. These toys are usually alive. They usually go in this community. They really build up that... I'm losing the word. What's the
They
word?
just set up the world really well.
They set up the world really well. And I really like in that scene where the toys come to life, how it immediately shows that each toy is different in how they move and how they work, because they
They are literally different.
yeah, they move based on their designs. Like, some of them can't move because some of them are just a ball. Some of them have like little segments they have to do. Mr. Potato Head literally needs to put himself back together. And that works, it introduces that in like 2 minutes.
They're economical with their storytelling.
Yeah, definitely. I really like Rex in this because from a graphic standpoint, he really hasn't changed all that much.
No, they
looks
they
very
render his
similar.
like the material he's made of is rendered very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, with Woody and Buzz, you can definitely notice a definite upgrade in future films, but Rex has almost stayed the same, just a bit of subsurface scattering.
Do you want to
that's
explain
it.
what bump mapping is?
Okay, bump mapping is you make a flat texture, but when you put light on it, it looks like there is actual texture on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a way to kind of cheat adding more polygons.
Because I noticed bump mapping, especially on the dog, like the slinky,
aliens?
on the slinky dog's
Okay.
ears, has like a faux leather texture
Yeah.
to it.
I noticed it more on the aliens because when you have, like, skipping forward in the film, when you see them all, like, in that claw machine, it's so noticeable that it's bump map textures.
I didn't see that,
for
but I
that, like, foamy kind of texture.
Yeah, yeah. Because what are they? They're a squeak toy. They're like
Yeah.
a light rubber. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very noticeable there. Anyway, back to the staff meeting. Does anyone have anything else to say about this part?
Other than the fact that it introduces, I'm going to talk from script writing point of view.
Okay.
It introduces Woody as the leader who's kind of compassionate to everyone and whatnot. But he also, you can immediately see that he's got a bit of pride and a bit of a jerk streak.
Oh,
about
there's a mean streak to him. Yeah.
Well, you know, his full name is Sheriff Woody Pride, so that makes sense.
Oh,
Is his last name
really?
Pride?
Yes.
What else happens in that scene? Not much that I can really say. I like how the
Sorry.
jukebox thing moves.
Yeah.
That's kind
What's
of
that?
cool. The thing with the microphone.
Oh yeah,
it just,
it
like,
kind of
tip
rocks.
sides
Yeah,
to
yeah.
side,
The
yeah.
Etch a Sketch does it too.
The
Yeah.
thing I like with Pixar in these animations, and like all animations in general, is when they try to give characters who don't have any facial expression.
And they do have personalities.
Like
Yeah.
that Sketcher thing has
Etch-a-Sketch.
a personality,
It's playful. Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
it's
It's
kind of a
do
smart.
is
It's kind of a smart ass.
yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
And it laughs at Mr. Potato Head's jokes of someone being a kiss ass as well.
Oh yeah,
That's funny. Yeah.
That was a
yeah.
good visual joke as well. Him doing that, because kids in the audience probably
What does
didn't
Woody
get it.
what does Woody
Yeah.
say at that point when he's just like he's like, I can't say the word I'm thinking of because there are preschool toys present. That's a great joke.
I was watching it with my little sister, and she laughed aloud at that.
That's funny. Yeah.
She hasn't watched it in years too. And
So I like that he acknowledged like that. Yeah, he's holding back. Like he knows what to say.
there's one really funny joke as well where there's Mr. Potato Head. He has his like face rearranged wheel, and he says, "Hey, I'm Picasso."
I love that.
That's funny.
and then he goes, "Oh, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Uncultured swine.
Uncultured
What are you
swine.
looking at, you hockey
John
puck?"
Ratzenberger's great.
That was like 3 great one-liners in a row.
I know.
Just bang, bang,
so
bang.
good. Again, yeah, dialogue is amazing. So then we have people coming over with presents for Angie's birthday party, and all the toys are lined up trying to see what they're bringing because they're all scared they're
I
going to
like
be
how they
replaced.
have a little military operation to
Yeah.
try and, to get like field information. It's great.
So with the army men going to the bottom of the stairs, they didn't actually have the parachutes rigged to their back properly. Mm. So what they had to do was have 2 separate rigs, one with army men with parachutes folded up in their back, and one with them unfolded. So what they did was when they jumped off the stairs, they're obscured for a second by the level of the ground, and then they replace it with the ones that can have the parachutes opening.
Ah.
Yeah. So that's very clever.
That's neat.
Something I like leading into that scene is how clear everyone's motivations are as characters. Like, you immediately know why they would be scared, as you and Michael said about them being replaced. And that always seems like on a character level, their motivations in the film are really clear. But yeah, back to the army things. That was so fun. I love the little army things doing their little operation, and to the big world, it looks like nothing.
Yeah.
Like, Andy's mum steps on one of the soldiers, and she's like, oh, Andy's left her toys. But to them, it's like, we've got a soldier down! Go on without me!
Yeah.
I also like how they animated his limp, because he broke in a way that a toy soldier would break. And I really like that. And I also
There's a lot of attention to detail in this sort of stuff.
yeah.
So they have a walkie-talkie to a pot plant with the army men and one back in the room. And then they're just describing these weird things that these kids bought. These kids don't know how to buy presents for Andy. They just get lunch boxes and bed sheets. What the hell?
Lunch boxes?
And bed sheets especially. Like, what the hell?
I do like how all the toys are just like kind of like mocking all those children.
Yeah.
It's like, who invited that kid who bought the bed sheets?
But again, they don't want to be replaced, so they're also happy about it as well. And then we find out that Andy's mum got Andy the ultimate toy, which the toys don't know because no one's saying the toy. And the army men, they don't know what it is because it's always obscured. And then the walkie-talkie breaks, and then they find out that Andy's coming upstairs with his friends, so they all go back into their places. And then chaos ensues as Andy comes in and just completely just kicks around all the other toys, and Woody gets under the bed in light of this new toy, Buzz Lightyear. And then he leaves Buzz Lightyear back on his bed, despite having such great fun with him.
I love how the kids kind of come into the room like a hurricane. They don't even do anything. They kind of just come in, just run around for like 2 seconds and then leave. It's like, yeah, that seems like exactly how kids behave. They just like swarm in and then swarm out, and that's it.
Well, to toys, that's definitely how it would be like.
Yeah, I thought that was clever.
This is a stampede.
And again, they use like clever techniques because the facial structures of the humans are really ugly in this film. So they did it in a way, like, again, doing it from the toys' point of view where you don't see their faces, just their legs.
I think it would be more interesting if you never saw their faces.
Yeah.
Like just have them, because from their perspective, I think it would be rare that they can ever look their owners in the eye a lot of the time. I think it would be just really interesting how you have to. It would be kind of a screenwriting challenge to try and characterize or build a character around someone you never see who has to emote and be kind of indirectly represented by either their clothes or their body language.
I actually liked how they did it though, because whenever it was to do with the toys, they would only show from the feet, as Ben said, from the toys' perspective. And never show the face. It's only when they want to make the human characters empathize with the audience do they show the characters. Like when Andy's sad because he's lost his toys, that's when they show Andy.
Yeah.
When Sid's being a jerk to the sister, then they show them because they want to show that to the audience.
Yeah, you do need a POV character that's kind of like your vessel into a fantastical world.
Yeah.
So I get why they did it. I think it'd be interesting to have like a cut of the film where you never see faces.
Back to the film, we get a shot of Woody peering over onto the bed.
That is such a good reveal.
So
that's great, isn't it?
It is. So because it's a 3D camera, you can really do different stuff. So what they did here was they did from Woody's face looking up at Buzz, then it goes underneath Buzz's legs and then goes up at him. And you could not do that in real life.
No, it would look stupid and silly.
But the fact that you can do it in 3D
It's
to
quite
such a great,
isn't it? Yeah. They don't quite make characters don't really have a weight to them. They don't quite create indentations and imperfections in the fabric as they walk across it.
No, they're kind of just placed there.
Yeah. They're either placed and the bed will like contort very slightly if there's quite a forceful movement.
Like during stuff like this, they wouldn't show the feet as often, which is
which is easier.
Yeah. So we find out that Buzz, when he comes alive, he actually thinks he's a space ranger. And he's on a different planet with all these different weird creatures lying about.
Which is weird. Do all toys go through this like journey of self-discovery once they're unboxed?
I don't think so, because in the trailers for Toy Story 4, you have Forky, whatever.
Yeah.
And he knows he was made into a toy, and he just wants to be a fork again.
That's bizarre.
I know.
Yeah, because like, what constitutes a toy?
Yeah, the thing is,
like, it's magic, basically.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But like, no one else seems to go, oh, remember when you were first brought out from the box and you were like this?
Yeah, like, did Woody think he was a sheriff and then go through an existential crisis when he found out he was a toy?
If that happens, you'd think Woody would be nicer to Buzz. But
yeah,
it's not.
like, I understand
He's
it, but
just a jerk to Buzz.
So Buzz is just like a defective unit that's like delusional.
No, but even in the Toy Story 2. Sorry to cut.
Do
Toy
all
Story
the
2 a lot.
Buzzers think that they're Buzz?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he unpackages a Buzz, and that Buzz thinks he's the real Buzz, and that Toy Story Buzz.
So just all the
is an
Buzz units are
imposter.
defective.
Maybe you could like chalk it up to like
But no, Zurg thinks he's Zurg though.
Yeah. Maybe you can chalk it up to like the more hard toys with all these electronics in it.
Maybe it's a newer thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Electronics.
Maybe all electronics just mess with them.
Anyway, so we have this awesome sequence where Woody's just like gouging Buzz into actually flying. And then Buzz goes, okay, I can fly. Watch this. And then he has the most amazing set of coincidences to ever happen. So he jumps off, he lands into a ball, bounces off the ball, lands on a Hot Wheels track, does a loop, and they actually had to cheat with that loop because his wings were open. So if it were to happen in real life, his wings would have hit the loop.
Oh yeah, because it's very
Yeah, so they just ignored that. And like, no one notices, no one cares.
Does it just clip through?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he flies up from the Hot Wheels loop onto a spinning
Plane
airplane in there hanging from the roof. Then he just goes a few loops of that and lands back on the bed. How impossible is that?
And he acts like
He actually flew.
I don't understand that because he acts like, yep, that's what I meant to do. I was like, did you?
He had his eyes closed, so I don't think he actually knew what he did.
Oh, so it's just, it was just an amazing cosmic coincidence.
Exactly.
I like, in terms of animation, it's just a very good showcase of, look, we can do physics.
Yeah.
Like, you have the
Yeah.
bouncing ball, you have the loop, you have all the difference of timing
And when Buzz clipped
acceleration.
onto that aeroplane, it was very realistic how
Yeah.
it started
It's
spinning around.
It's a ta-da scene.
Yeah.
And it literally is a ta-da scene, because he ends with, like, ta-da. You know,
I agree with Woody there.
Yeah,
It's like,
same.
yeah, it was just a string of improbabilities.
And if the other toys can't notice that,
They're all
what the hell?
idiots. Especially Mr. Potato Head. That guy is murderous.
He
at best.
is.
you know, I get that. I know Woody's whole thing is he's a jerk, and at this start, and he is jealous and whatnot. But the toys don't make it any easier for him. Like, Woody's done so much for them, and they immediately just go, "Hey, Woody, this guy's better than you. You suck. You've got a pull string. You suck."
Let's double fly kick you out of the window.
Actually, as an just a subtle animation thing, I like the shot where they say, "Wow, your Buzz's voice command's so much better than Woody's," and Woody like feels the back of
That's
his
really
pull
sad.
string and
He's very self-conscious
yeah,
of that.
he's like really sad, concerned. He's
It's almost like an
inadequate.
impotence thing, yeah.
Yeah, it was a really nice little animation gag thing.
Yeah. Not gag, but
Uh,
detail.
A visual cue.
Yeah. And then over the course of what I assume is a few weeks, we see the bedroom being transformed from all this cowboy western stuff into Buzz Lightyear branded stuff. From the
I
bed
like-
sheets
Which all,
to
I
the
like
posters
how, I like
and
how
the
it kind of-
drawings.
It kind of mimics a real cultural shift towards kind of the interest in
Yeah,
like,
from westerns to
westerns
sci-fi.
to like sci-fi, yeah, like
Yeah.
a cosmic interest, the shift that happens between like the 1950s and 60s,
A lot
especially in
of-
America.
A lot of Toy Story also, Toy Story as a series also goes along that things grow up and things change. That's a big theme throughout a lot of the films. And the fact that Woody is a cowboy and Buzz is a ranger, a space ranger, really reflects that, as you
They're
said.
basically the same thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
But they change.
They have the same job.
Yeah. Except for one's intergalactic and new.
If
and-
anything, Woody has more authority than Buzz does.
I
kind
guess,
of.
yeah.
Buzz is a ranger. Woody's a sheriff. Is he technically higher ranking?
One thing I like about that montage scene is I love montages in animation where time changes and things change while the character stays in the same position, or they just see it changing around them.
Yeah.
I just think that's a really nice aesthetic to show it and show that they're kind of stuck in the same place while they see everything change around them.
Yeah, it's a very nice visual cue.
Yeah, and it has, what song does it have there? It has another Random Human song, doesn't it? Yeah.
Woody sad. Oh no.
I like Ben's version better than yours, Mike.
Things are happening, ain't no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Changes.
Don't face the strange changes.
Da 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 da.
I only know what was played in Shrek 2.
You don't know? Wait, you don't know the David Bowie one?
No, I do know
No.
it, but I only remember the lyrics from the Shrek 2.
Okay, yeah.
What else happens after that scene?
Then we have Cowboy Shark.
I love Cowboy Shark!
So basically, Andy sleeps with one of his toys every night, and instead of choosing Woody, he finally chooses Buzz, so Woody has to go in the toy box. And then in the morning, we have one of Stefan's favorite
Yeah,
jokes.
basically Woody can't find his hat. He looks down and goes, "Hey, who has my hat?" And one of the shark, like, squishy things, like, just jumps up and goes, "Look, I'm
Oh,
Woody.
Sheriff.
Howdy, howdy, howdy."
It's a bizarre joke.
It's
It's the one that I always remember, like, as a kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because also the shark's animation there is really good because it looks like he's just rotating from his tail, so he's
Yeah.
just bopping up and down. But it's like he did not realize any of Woody's dilemma at all, and he's just like, "Oh, I got Woody's hat. I'm a cowboy." Ha ha ha.
Very simple shark.
He's the best.
But actually, if they're moving, why is Andy putting up all this stuff in his room instead of taking it down?
He's not a very bright child.
No.
Oh yeah, you got a point there actually.
Andy and his mum are going to go to a Pizza Planet restaurant and he has to choose only one toy. So he wants to pick Buzz, and Woody knows this. So Woody tries to get Buzz to be stuck behind the chest of drawers so he couldn't find Buzz, and Andy would pick him. So then we have an almost manslaughter here.
Not almost, it is manslaughter.
No, he doesn't kill.
It was intent. He's just lucky. And again, he basically wanted him dead anyway.
So it's actually, I really like this scene. So it's like you see that horror come into Woody's face when he realizes it's going wrong. Where you have, so he wants to push Buzz behind
He
the
resorts
chest
to
of drawers
murder way too quickly and easily.
with a remote control car, but then the car veers off onto a board and then it hits a globe and then that globe rolls towards
Did
Buzz.
you hear the little Indiana Jones music cue?
Yeah, it's a homage to Indiana Jones with the rolling boulder.
There's a little like da, 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 as it like rolls down. Yeah.
Can I just sidetrack for a second and say,
Absolutely not.
So after that almost manslaughter, because honestly Buzz should have shattered into a million pieces when he fell, but he landed in a bush luckily. All the toys instantly have a mob mentality to kill Woody.
and they do the Simpsons thing.
I
where
was gonna say the old Simpsons approach.
where it's like they get a noose, they get the sketcher pad thing to draw a noose.
That's so dark.
I love it. They turn on a dime. Just like they
Yeah.
forget the years and years of like flawless leadership and just immediately turn like.
Well,
bay
I guess
for,
we're gonna kill him now.
just bay for blood immediately.
Oh,
Just like there's no loyalty. Just they want immediate like execution.
I think they really change that in the next movie.
Oh yeah, they're much more friendly.
Like
Yeah.
everyone in the
family.
next movie feels a lot more refined to the character, but here they're just so like on a dime.
I guess because the next movie focuses more on them as a team rather than
Yeah, they're a little
as
family
just
at that point.
yeah.
What happens after they kick him off?
Yeah, so Andy chooses Woody before they get a chance to kill him. Because they were definitely going to kill Woody.
Oh yeah, they were gonna kill him more than Woody was gonna kill Buzz.
But what would happen if they killed Woody and then Andy came in?
Oh, then I guess this is where just all like ghost stories come from in this universe.
Toys just magically getting
Yeah.
mutilated.
Exactly.
Andy takes Woody to Pizza Planet, but before that they stop off at a gas station, and little does Woody know Buzz took a ride at the back of the car and no one saw.
Yeah, so then they have like a little fight off under the
Yeah,
car.
that fight is really cool.
I like how, again, it's really cool when you think of how grand the set piece looks like when it's just under a car. And
Yeah.
that's it. But from their perspective, it looks really grand. It's got epic, like, lighting just from the shadow of the car. But for them, it looks like really black and dark.
And something like, and then after the fight, when they're standing up next to each other, what they had to do, because Woody's so much taller than Buzz, they actually had to put Woody into the ground a bit, so then they can actually be in the frame together.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense. Do they still have to do that now?
Yes.
Because Woody's head...
He's way taller than Buzz.
Woody's
Yeah.
head is about the size of Buzz's whole torso. Because that's how he is. He's longer and Buzz is built, he's more round. He's lighter. So it's really interesting how they have to get around that by literally like putting him into the ground.
And from here, you really get a sense of how deluded Buzz is with his coding and all that, where he's does this Star Wars speech about how Zurg is Darth Vader and how there's a Death Star approaching and he has to go stop it. Basically, Buzz is Rogue One, the movie.
Oh yeah.
He has the secret plans for the Death Star.
What I love there is it has that moment, and it feels like a very human moment, and it's animated human moment where the Woody cracks and he says, "You are a toy."
That's
But
great. I love
he
seeing
like
just the
there's
anger.
a build up where his lip trembles and he like shakes his head slightly, and then he just explodes with it. It's like that is really good animation, gesture wise.
It is.
funny.
Actually, speaking of gestures, what they did, like to approach the character animation in 3D, what they did was do all the body animation first, because if you can get a sense of what the body is saying, doing the face would be a lot more successful.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
what
and
you've
it really shows in this.
That's what you've done before. You start
Yeah.
with the body first, and then you add the little features.
Mm.
It also gets the timing down because his hands are like on beat to his words when he says, "You are a toy."
That's great.
And then, unbeknownst to them, Andy and his mum take off without them, so they have to catch a Pizza Planet truck, while Woody has to convince that this car is a spaceship to Buzz. And that somehow works.
Yeah,
Just
he very.
just constantly lies to him, and Buzz constantly believes him. It's great.
Despite him being hateful and spiteful towards him.
I actually like how forgiving Buzz is. Like, even when he's fought him and he's like seemingly like trying to transmit to his home base, he still refers to him as like a local sheriff. He doesn't say this jerk who tried to kill me.
No, he's just like, yeah, he's a local dude.
So they get to Pizza Planet. That Pizza Planet, I've always thought this when I was a kid. Did anything like this place exist? Because it looks amazingly fun.
Probably in America.
Yeah, it feels
Not
like an
in
American
Australia.
thing when they go all out for like franchising,
And then it fails a few years later.
or entertainment restaurants. That kind
Yeah,
of thing.
it looks like the sort of gimmick that would just like die in like a
like
few months.
A sci-fi Chuck E. Cheese or something like
I
that.
feel like as a parent, it would just be insufferable.
Oh, God. It looked insufferable. Like kids running everywhere, just neon lights everywhere, no proper lighting.
It's all underlit. Yeah.
Yeah. And just arcades everywhere as well. Anyway, so they, Woody and Buzz have to sneak in using food and cup containers, which I found really fun. Like, I think it's a great way to show, like, the shape of the characters, where you have Woody being tall and thin and Buzz being bulky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to show that with these food containers. And then Buzz gets sidetracked and goes into a claw machine. But there's all these aliens.
Yeah, because he said it looks like a spaceship, so he thinks, oh, it's ready to launch. It says on the code, so I'm gonna go there.
Which is how Buzz interprets everything is really clever.
Yeah, it's all character motivated. It's pretty much him saying, I need to get to space. That looks like a spaceship. I go there.
Therefore, yeah.
A very simple man.
A thing I like about the aliens, not so much the aliens in the claw machine, but how they almost it's got this little subtext of that claw, because it's the only thing they know. They almost deitize it. They do deitize it.
do.
They say, oh, it chooses the one that's worthy and puts them in a new place.
A stranger from the outside. Whoa. The claw.
They're cute. I love them.
Oh my god, they're amazing. And it all comes back in Toy Story 3.
So well. Like, I remember when I watched that for the first time, I literally stood up and was clapping. I was like, yes, you do that, you stupid aliens. Because it was the only time they did something good, and man, did they do something good.
Anyway, back to Toy Story
Yeah, back to
1.
Toy Story.
So, somehow, Sid is the luckiest son of a gun out there. He literally, not only does he get an alien from a claw machine the very first try, but then he grabs a heavy Buzz Lightyear toy connected to a Woody toy.
Wow, this makes my weeks of being abused by my father so much better.
No, but
Jesus.
I wasn't going to get into that yet, but the chances of getting those toys on a claw machine where they're rigged to not be able to even get anything until like 1 in 20 is so infinitesimally small.
Sid's a lucky kid.
And again, Buzz is not a light plush toy either. He's a heavy plastic and like electronic filled toy. I just find it improbable.
Yeah.
But story wise, it makes a lot of sense. Because Sid just wants some friends.
Poor Sid.
Oh yeah. He's the real victim.
He is the victim.
Michael's on his phone, by the way.
I'm looking at notes.
What else? What happens after this? So they miss Andy. They go home. Andy starts panicking. Oh, now Woody's gone. And the mum's just like, she's probably somewhere.
Yeah, the mum doesn't care about Andy and his feelings whatsoever. And then we have Sid skateboarding up to his house. This has some... Like, I know it's 1995 and it's very primitive 3D animation, but it's such a horribly animated part where Sid flips off his skateboard and lands on the ground.
Yeah, that's a bit rough. Yeah,
It's very rough there. And I will say, a lot of the feet in this film, especially the toys, if you look closely, they're not perfectly placed on the ground all the time. Like, they kind of move around and skitter and everything. And that's just the limitations of 3D, which is understandable, but noticing it, like watching it in HD especially,
You can tell.
Yeah, you can definitely notice it if you're looking at the feet.
I think that if you're if you just watch it casually, you don't even notice that stuff though. So you can
Yeah,
easily
again,
get away
casually,
with
but
it.
I was watching it, like, trying to spot animation stuff and everything.
Yeah.
And then we see the inside of Sid's house, which is...
Fine.
No, it's not. It literally has the
how the-
carpet from The Shining.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
fun.
So it's like that denotes all the horror and everything. And his room is all very grimy and darkly lit.
That's fine.
I
He's
think
just a kid going through a phase.
Okay,
Okay, but from a toy's perspective, it is really
Like the weirdest
grim.
part is when Woody looks at like a poster on the wall. He's like, ah, but it's just a rock, like a heavy metal poster. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
a fine thing to like as a kid.
no, I'm not even going to talk about Sid as a...
I mean,
I know
I'm-
you're disturbed by how
I'm
he's treated.
100% pro Sid.
No, I like how it creates that sense of threat by the fact that they only see the house through the little zip in the bag they're in, and the very first thing they see when the door opens is the dog like snarling and barking at them, and that dog looks scary when it's up close.
Oh, let's talk about that bloody dog and how horrible the face looks.
The eyes, what
The
are with
eyes.
the eyes?
They're so horrible.
They're weirdly big.
Yeah, they're like human
And they're
eyes.
very
like,
close together as well. And so the body itself is fine.
The
but
body's
just
fine.
The head.
Yeah, the head's just something off kilter about it.
And it just doesn't actually have fur. You can see it in a few close-ups where it's just bump mapped fur. Oh, but yeah, that dog is horrifyingly bad. Like if you look at the cat in the new Toy Story 4 movie, it looks so good.
Oh, that cat looks amazing.
And you compare it to this dog, and it's just. Oh,
I think it's really
terrible.
fun to take the two movies and just look at similar characters and see how much they've progressed. Like, even things you don't notice could look so much better.
Yeah.
Like, Buzz looks infinitely better from 4 to 1.
1 to 4.
Or 1 to 4. But 1 still looks really good. But
Yeah,
4 just
like,
taking
because-
it to that
yeah,
next
I know.
level.
Because the story is so good in the first Toy Story, you just get enveloped by the world, so it isn't that much of a crux to watch it. Are you gonna sneeze?
No, I'm looking at some articles about like in favor of Sid.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, look at all these.
We don't not agree with you. Sid's all right, but still.
We're just saying from the toy's perspective, he's a monster.
Yeah.
So
What else? They're introduced to the Sid's toys then, right?
yeah, so they're all like Frankenstein's and put together and everything, and Buzz and Woody are freaked out by that because they've never seen anything like this before.
I like the design of that little spidery doll thing.
Oh, that is so good. It's
great.
Like, so creepy, but so cool.
Yeah, in terms of character designs, they're really unique
Yeah,
because
they really went all out here.
I remember someone pointed out that the fishing rod with legs is a hooker.
Yeah, because it's literally a hook.
Do you get it?
it's clever.
Yeah, it's great.
Also, because those are a mishmash, they almost have to deal with two personalities and how they would move.
And also they don't speak or anything as well.
No.
Because they are Frankenstein together.
I love the one, like, it's an odd design, but it is kind of creepy. Just the Jack-in-the-Box is just a hand.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? Yeah, it drags itself along the ground.
I like the one that like has a rolling wheel body and then just a head placed on top with some arms.
Yeah.
And just like turns off the flashlight that Woody's holding.
Yeah, again, it's creative.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
imagine how the people who designed these characters would have had to think of.
I'm pretty
what-
sure they actually just got a bunch of toys and tried to mishmash them together.
That's a good idea. Like that they were the most creative designs in the film, and that baby on the Meccano like little
Yeah.
spider legs does
so
stick
good.
because that was really cool design. What happens afterwards? They split up because they're trying to find a way out, right?
Yeah, so basically they're trying to find a way out, and that's where Buzz finds out he is a toy. Yeah, so he sneaks into Sid's dad's room where he's blackout drunk asleep.
Yeah, again, neglected child.
Yeah, so
I like how it shows subtext.
Yeah,
that
it
you
doesn't-
don't need to see, but it's interesting.
it doesn't
Is
like,
he drunk?
blatantly say
Does
it.
he have like beer cans or something?
There were cans. And
He
stuff
has a
around
beer
him.
in his. You can see a
okay.
beer.
Yeah, but yeah, and then he sees a commercial where he thinks it's Mission Command calling him, but no, it's just a toy commercial. And then you just really see his face and like how he's processing it all. Then you have that
It's
song
a really
come
good
in.
character moment where it doesn't say anything, but you can really see when he looks and starts doubting his existence, and he even peels off the sticker that he's.
Yeah. It's
he's
really
lost
great
himself.
use of show don't tell.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to ask you. Do you think I know the gesture animation is definitely show not tell, but is the commercial show not tell? Because the commercial kind of just tells you that, oh, look, he's a toy.
Okay, yeah,
he can't fly.
Yeah,
so
but
he's a toy.
Toy, you're a toy.
It's the way he deals with it though.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't just say.
Oh, he doesn't say
I don't
anything.
feel-" Yeah. There's no dialogue from him until he's crazy Mrs.
But then
Nesbit.
again, the Randy Newman song is just Buzz knows he's a toy now.
It has the great moment where he actually does try to fly.
Oh, that is so well done.
Again, holds on a minute like he can, and then he just falls.
Again, a great use of the 3D camera, which you can't do in live action.
No. But no, that was a really great scene. Really liked it. And then we have Mrs. Nesbit, which it seems to be Michael's favourite scene.
Best part of the film.
Oh, can we also talk about how
Buzz just completely loses it.
From this point onwards, a lot of things fall on Woody's head. And he seems perfectly fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a bowling ball falls into his head.
Like, what's the threshold for death in this universe?
Anyway, so Woody finds Buzz in Sally's room. Is her name Sally? Or are the doll's name Sally? I'm not sure.
doll-
Let's get to
name's
Mrs.
Sally.
Nesbit.
Okay, and then we see that Buzz, deep in depression, has just gone into denial, and now he's pretending to be with Sally's toys as Mrs. Nesbit, and he acts all crazy.
I love how tight the apron is like pulled around this like hulking armor. It's great.
And just like the voice acting combined with the character animation here is amazing.
The little dainty like lifting a pinky as he sips the tea. Yeah,
And it's like his head just keeps turning like.
he's just he's completely gone.
I love how he's drunk on invisible tea.
Yeah.
How can you be drunk
When he's
on
just like,
invisible tea?
when he's just like, no more tea for you.
Darjeeling tea as well. I don't know what that is. If you know what it is, please comment below.
It's like a visual analogy for just like sitting at a bar, just like completely in denial and drunk.
Oh, yeah, that was really well done.
Woody basically tries to convince... He gets the toys in Andy's room's attention. Says,
We forgot to say that after Buzz fell, his arm fell off. Which cemented that he was a toy, because otherwise he would be writhing in pain if his arm fell off.
But sometimes
It
they
feels
feel
real.
pain.
But he doesn't feel it when his arm falls off.
So when the toys... Woody gets the attention of the toys in Andy's room and says, help us across. Buzz is here with me. So they kind of believe him, but then because Buzz is in depression, he doesn't come up
When Woody
to...
says, hey, come on, Buzz, give me a hand. Buzz chucks off
That's
his
great,
arm.
yeah.
And then Woody has to improvise with that arm. And apparently, I think I read that part was improvised by Tom Hanks. Like, a lot of that part where he had the hand
Okay.
and talking with it.
I mean, that could work. It really did show that sort of spontaneous energy where he's just kind of trying to come up with things on the spot.
It's just the stupidest thing when he's just like, when he accidentally pulls the hand into frame.
Yeah, I know.
It's what a dumb... It's the one thing you should be, like, all your brain power should be, like, set on not doing.
But you really feel bad for Woody and Slinky as well, because Slinky is kind of like the loyal the loyal friend to Woody.
Yeah, it's kind of laid
But
back.
he's like, everything points to Woody being a murderer. And he's trying to prove he's innocent, but Buzz isn't helping, and all the toys across the street, again, still in that mob mentality, just want to cast Woody off into oblivion.
What happens after that?
Then Sid comes in with the rocket and wants to blow Buzz up.
Oh, the toys fix Buzz's arm first.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And it shows that, they're actually good toys.
They're
And
not cannibals.
And it shows that they fix Sally and the pterodactyl. They put their heads back together with duct tape.
Oh, I forgot to mention. Sorry, just to go back a bit. When Sid interrogates Woody.
Oh, yeah.
So that was like an army-inspired thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
just
think
like
so.
interrogation tactics.
Yeah, and he burns a thing into Woody's head.
Yeah, I know he burns a thing into the head, but the only thing he burned into my head was how hideous his teeth looked.
Yeah.
Like, it shows the teeth up close. It's like, oh, no, look away.
And they actually, to research that burn, they actually did burn...
Woody, if you're going to kill anyone, now's the time.
They actually did burn a thing into a doll's head with a magnifying glass.
To see what it would look like?
Yeah.
Turns out it just looks like a dot.
Yeah. Again, they just added an extra bit of the texture onto the shader.
Oh, okay.
That's all it is. Very simple.
I get that like, story-wise comes into play later, but it never explains how that gets off Woody's head in later installments.
Oh, it just rubs off. He says, I hope it isn't permanent, and it isn't permanent.
But it's a burn.
But it's a burn, yeah.
Can't-
know.
A burn
You have to,
can't-
like, sand it down
But
or
like,
something.
throughout the movie, you do see it going away slowly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Where were we up to?
we could probably skip to the scene when it's at night and Buzz
Yeah.
has got the rocket attached to him. And they have that heart-to-heart moment where Woody's in the cage-looking thing.
Great dialogue. Just like trying to comfort each other.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it? You seem to be good at these sorts of things.
Well, when they talk to each other.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the part when they talk to each other.
Okay.
Thanks.
I don't know what else do you say about it.
You usually go off on good tangents about this sort of stuff.
This sort of stuff? Oh no, it's a concisely and traditionally structured screenplay where this is the end of the second act. This is the makeup portion. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the, like I don't like. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It's nice dialogue.
It's the moment when it feels like they were sort of getting friendly, but that is the moment that really shows that they understand each other on a level that they can understand.
Yeah.
Like, when Woody says, I was worried that you were too good and that I was being replaced, it immediately cuts to Buzz, and Buzz has an expression where it's like, oh, so that explains why you were being like this to me. And the fact that you have those characters opening up like that, it shows that they have a relationship rather than just saying, oh yeah, they're friends now because they're friends. Yeah, so I like that. It's one of the high moments for me.
One animation fact. Well, something I observed really during the film. Do you know when it starts raining against the window? And that
was good rain. I like that rain.
Yeah, so...
Is it rotoscope? Can you rotoscope rain?
I'm pretty sure it was just a texture on the window because when I tried looking outside, there weren't any raindrops or anything outside, so it was just against the window.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure the first animated water was in A Bug's Life.
And how long was that after?
That was a few years after.
Was that the
It's
second film?
the next film they did.
Yeah, it's the next film they did. And 99 was Toy Story 2.
Can you have dynamic texturing? How does that work?
Okay, literally, it's an image sequence. Have you worked with image
Yes,
sequences?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, you just literally plug that in.
Oh, that's
And it
And
just
then
loops
you switch
around.
it to the hold texture.
okay. Okay, that makes sense to me. So for the rain, it would be
It would be an image sequence on
yeah
that
on
window.
that window. Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
But that looks so real. Like, I like that rain.
They could have used, like, physics, like 3D physics stuff to get it.
You sure they didn't just use real rain and just kind of I don't know,
Honestly-
filmed it, put it behind it?
They could have used a plate like that. That wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, it seems very possible. Anyway, then we have Woody trying to get Buzz to escape from that cage that he's in. No, Buzz tries to help Woody escape from the cage he's in. Woody escapes, but Buzz doesn't know. He's not listening to Woody. And then Woody gets crushed by a toolbox.
Yep. Dead. The end.
That doesn't kill him somehow.
Not even a mark from
No,
all these
he's
tools
fine.
and stuff falling on him. Oh my god, I feel so sorry for him. And then the alarm goes up after Sid is dreaming about wanting a pony.
Such an odd... Just...
I want to ride the pony.
I want to ride a pony.
See, misunderstood, obviously damaged child.
And then immediately Sid goes, oh yeah, looks at Buzz and the rocket and wants to explode him. So Woody has to quickly think of a plan to get the dog out of the way and Sally, the sister, out
Do
of the way.
all of Woody's plans involve murder, do you
Yes.
think?
What do you think based on this movie? Of course.
No more murder!
So I really like this plan, actually. How you have that hooker and the duck Pez guy.
Yeah, it's weirdly elaborate.
Yeah.
I like how Duck Pez moves the skateboard. Like, with his big meaty arms. Just, like, pushes it, drags it.
Somehow they know the dog's going to be stuck outside from that. Don't know how, but they do. And then they skateboard their way down the stairs and through the kitchen, out to the backyard. That's a really fun sequence.
It is a fun sequence.
Very fast paced too.
And then they...
Traumatized Sid.
Yeah, traumatized. All they basically do is they do everything they weren't meant to
So
do.
just as Sid is about to light the match on Buzz's rocket, you hear Woody say some stuff. And Sid's just like, how is he talking by himself? And then all the toys that he's ever destroyed rises from the ground and everywhere. And it is amazingly horrifying. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like, it's very cathartic for our point of view.
Yeah.
But from Sid's point of view,
Horrifying.
horrifying.
Yeah.
Like, poor Sid.
I
He's the
know.
only person in the world, assumingly, in this world, who
Yeah.
has to see the toys alive and like that.
Yeah. Like all
You
broken.
would never move on from it,
No.
right? Yeah.
Oh.
It's like I always think about like protagonists in horror films. Like
You can't move on from what
Yeah,
happens.
exactly. If by the end of that you have absolutely irrefutable proof that the supernatural exists and it's actively malicious and out to get you, you would never sleep again.
So Sid is horrified. He runs into his room, and then his sister, who now thinks his brother is crazy, just shoves the doll in his face, traumatizing him even more.
Exactly. As if he didn't have enough to worry about with his obviously absent mum and abusive alcoholic father. He has to add another family member to just abuse
You're
him.
a bit too protective of Sid, I think.
And then
I think he just needs counselling.
Or a hug.
He's obviously misunderstood.
so all the toys cheer from what they've done.
Yay, we've ruined a child's life.
Look, he becomes a garbage man. It's all good.
That's true, yeah, it does.
We don't know that.
Yes,
It
we
just
do.
has the same t-shirt.
I think it's heavily
Implied.
implied, yeah.
Yeah. So then they see next door the moving truck is there and it's about to leave, so they have to try to escape through the fence, but Buzz's rocket is too big. They don't take the rocket off. They could
No.
just get the tape, undo the tape, and then they
They
can go
need
off.
it for the climax, Ben.
I know. So somehow they're fast enough to run after a truck.
Yeah, let's not question that.
So they get up onto the truck. Then the dog, who is outside at the front, sees them, chases after them. And so it's about to get Woody, but then Buzz sacrifices himself to fight off the dog. Dog fighting in a film. Wow. Never thought of that. Anyway. And then Woody was like, okay, need to rescue Buzz. Opens up the truck. Somehow the truck driver doesn't notice any of this.
No, he can't see. It's not in his rearview mirror.
And then he gets RC, so he's in use again. And Woody tries to save Buzz with RC, but then all the other toys go, oh, he's trying to kill RC now instead of Buzz. And then...
If he just turned around and explained what he was doing.
He
I
did. He's
know.
just like, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. And that's it.
And then, I don't
It's
know
fine.
how RC's controller works, but somehow it
Has decent range.
also, like, when they're spinning Woody, somehow that also spins the RC.
I think maybe he's...
No,
pulled the-
but also when they, like, make Woody jump up, so RC also jumps up. It doesn't make any sense.
It's got an
But
accelerometer in
it's
it.
it's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is a
fine.
great use of, like, visual gags with toys, but...
They also cause
It
a
doesn't make
4-car
sense.
pile-up.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Again, all of Woody's plans involve murder.
It is such a fun sequence, though.
Oh,
like,
it's great.
trying
It's
to
a great
get
climax.
Buzz back.
It's one of those things when, like, again, it's this high stakes epic finale, but it's just in the back of a moving truck.
Yeah, I like that. I also like how when the finales are always like, you just need to get to that one thing, but it's always out of reach.
just
It's also
out of
it's kind of a
reach.
car chase. So again,
It
it's
is a car
constant,
chase.
it's constant movement.
And then you have Slinky trying to get Buzz. And yeah, like that part was really cool.
Slinky has very good range in terms of.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know,
yeah,
that,
he-
that
he
spring
He should have
stretched
ripped it half
really far.
immediately.
No, these toys are well built.
We have a Slinky toy. When Toy Story 3 came out, we tried to get all the toys.
Yeah.
And we have a Slinky, but they put a string in the middle of it so it can't stretch
Same
all the
one
way.
we had.
Why? Can't you
So
just cut
annoying.
it?
No,
It
it's
could, but
Is it dangerous with it? I think it is. Yeah, because if you pull
Yeah.
it too far, yeah.
yeah.
can't exactly choke on a Slinky.
No,
No,
but like you get your
they-
hands caught in it. Or
Ah,
whatever.
okay.
They're very sharp also if they snap.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Slinky has such an incredible range trying to get them back, but he fails, and then Woody and Buzz are stuck. How does the truck driver not know that they pull the lever down, and the thing's scraping against the ground?
Every human in this universe is just like negligent. They don't notice.
Except for the little sister who notices from looking at the rear view
yeah, but
mirror.
that's good. It's like a childhood magic kind
I
of
know.
thing when only kids notice. This
That was
kind of
fun
stuff.
though. Had Akuna
Akuna
Matata.
Matata.
Yeah, that's where I realized. Oh, this has to be Disney partnered because
They let them use.
they let them use Akuna
Otherwise, they
Matata.
would have sued the pants off of them.
Exactly.
Woody and Buzz just left on RC with RC's batteries dying, and then
I like how
Woody-
he gets tired when his
Yeah.
batteries die. Yeah.
So that's a clever thing. Like, if he was just tired when his battery died, that makes sense. And then Woody has the bright idea to do to Buzz's rocket what Sid did to him, which was use Buzz's helmet as a magnifying glass to burn it. But he doesn't.
Woody temporarily forgets what a rocket is.
Yes. And
I
then
like that. Wait, I just lit a rocket.
Rockets explode!
Ah! I like the little sound design that he's going so fast you can hear like the skin flapping against his face.
That looked a bit off though. Like
It's
just
funny,
looks
though.
weird.
I think it's good. Yeah, and just that whole sequence was like where they're just about to explode, and then Buzz goes, "We're not gonna die," or whatever he says. Oh, Woody says, we're going to die. And then Buzz says, not today. He launches his wings. That cuts through
Cuts
the tape
through the
somehow.
tape, yeah.
It, no way has the power, but it just does.
He didn't think of doing
Sid's
it at the start.
Sid is a poor child with a dad that doesn't work. So I think he could only buy, like, the shit tape.
Okay, fair enough. But he can buy a rocket, though. But not good tape.
Yeah, he did buy, like, a decent rocket. Like, it lasted a long time.
I know.
Like, the fuse really went. At that point, it would have gone so high, the explosion would have been just, like, negligible.
Anyway, so then Buzz and Woody are falling, and then instead of
Buzz gets
flying,
to do...
he falls in style.
That kind of nicely wraps up his
Oh,
arc.
the music there is so nice. And this moment is like where the magic of the film really sums up everything that's happened before. It's like, yeah, it's like magic in cinema. A lot of films these days don't really capture that, but this moment really has that. Like, I had goosebumps during this part just because of how magical it
Also,
was.
thematically, it feels deserved. Like,
Yeah.
you want these characters to fly like that.
And like, none of it doesn't feel cheap or anything.
No.
Yeah. And like, it's all set up as well. And yeah,
It
just
was building up to that final moment.
Exactly.
And the fact that Buzz also says we're not aiming for the truck and he lands them right next to Andy is like his gift to Woody as well, where it's like he gets them both next to him.
yeah. Oh, but then the mum's dumb again.
The mum's an idiot.
Like, where'd you find the toys? And then Andy just is
So
in the
it's
car.
the first
not,
thing in the box.
not in the... He doesn't say, I found it in the box I just put next to me. He says, I found it in the car. And the mum goes, oh, okay. You just didn't look hard enough. What the hell?
Stupid kid.
From one of the greatest moments in the film to one of the worst.
Yeah, it's cute.
It is cute, but
Because you need that kind of that finality. To
logically it doesn't make
it.
any
But logically,
sense.
it's questionable. And then we get to the end.
Yeah, it cuts to a few months later at Christmas. Circles back to the beginning of the film where the army men are spying on...
Cyclical story.
Yeah, cyclical stories.
cyclical.
Yeah, they're spying on the family opening presents. And they're no longer...
Sid's across town, obviously not getting any presents.
He's probably...
He's sleeping in the yard because his dad hates him and hates Christmas.
No, he
that's what
wouldn't be
his
sleeping in the yards because that's where the toys came alive.
Oh, it's true. He'd be in the attic.
Or the roof.
He just locked himself in his room.
His
Nothing in
dad
it.
resents Sid because the mum left on Christmas.
Pretty sure you're making up some of this, Michael.
This is exactly what happened.
Okay. And so they're no longer worried about any toys that might come because of the lessons they've learned just this one year, not any other year.
Yeah, exactly. They don't learn.
Woody gets a lot of smooches from Thingamabob. What's her name? Bo Peep.
Bo Peep.
She had no personality in this film.
I like her voice
No.
though. It's kind of like this.
Yeah.
Old, it's like
It's
this, she's-
Annie Potts from Ghostbusters. It's the receptionist.
It is. Yes.
And she's back for Toy Story 4.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
sounds a bit gravelly in the new Toy Story.
Well, obviously she's a lot older, so
Yeah, it's this real kind of like old soul kind of voice, isn't it? Yeah.
It's still very similar to the first Toy Story though, so I'm happy about that.
The voice definitely sounds similar.
Janine from Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Ah.
And Mr. Potato Head gets a Mrs. Potato Head, so now he can kiss, I guess.
It's Estelle Harris.
And then, yeah, they're happy about how everything's turned out, but then they hear the barking of a puppy, and then Angie goes, "Wow, a puppy!"
And it zooms out to them, and that's it.
To their faces, and they're just like, "We're screwed." And then it cuts to the credits. And that is Toy Story. So obviously, it spawned off now 3 sequel films, and they have done a few shorts since Toy Story 3 as well. There's Toy Story of Terror and another 1 or 2.
I've seen the Toy Story of Terror one. I haven't seen any others.
Is that good?
It's alright.
Yeah, it's...
Haven't seen any of
Yeah,
those.
and Toy Story 4 has Keanu Reeves in it.
Yeah, as the
As
Canadian action
Yeah.
stuntman.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Keanu Reeves has got a lot going for him these days. He has the John Wick films, Bill and Ted 3. He's in the bloody Cyberpunk game coming out next year.
I saw that. The trailer dropped this morning.
Yeah. He's on a hot streak at the moment. And obviously a lot of people really love Toy Story 2 and 3. A lot of people say Toy Story 2 is the best. And emotionally it's a lot better than this first film. I would have to
The
say.
stakes are higher. The thing about 1, 2, and 3 is the stakes just get higher and higher and higher.
Yeah, I like how the final chase in the first one is in a moving truck. The final chase in the second one is a
moving plane.
Is a plane at the airport. Yeah.
And then the third one's a moving conveyor belt to their death.
The third one's kind of miserable at that stage because it gets to the stage where that part did not feel fun. That was miserable to watch. The only part that was fun was when the claw came down and then you're just like hooraying it.
But we're not going to talk about those films today. But
Maybe some other day.
it's made a massive impact on pop culture and how people view animated films. Definitely.
Oh,
And
definitely.
definitely. If this film wasn't successful, I don't know what 3D animation would be like today.
No, yeah, exactly. It pioneered it.
Yeah. And obviously, all the people who worked in it have gone on to have amazing careers. Joss Whedon, John Lasseter. Those two.
Two bad examples.
I did those two just to single them out. Not in recent years because of things they've done, but it did definitely launch their careers.
Oh,
yeah, working on facts only. Facts
But like
basis.
Pete Docter and Andrew Stanton and John Raft, as I said before, and a lot of the animators from there have gone on to become senior animators and directors as well. And yet Steve Jobs, that didn't hurt him at all, I guess, creating one of the best 3D animation studios of all time.
He still had a lot. He owned a lot of that company for a long while.
Yeah.
Like I don't actually remember the
just
number.
it was probably just until he sold it off to Disney in 2007. And yeah, that's Toy Story for ya.
It's great.
Any other final words?
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not really
that's
anything
right.
that we haven't already said.
Yeah, it's a great film. Like, it really holds. The story is amazing and it holds up. The animation, again, for me, and you guys, because we have done work in animation, it's a bit wonky to the start, but you grow into it. So that's fine.
Buy a ticket, go see it.
Okay, so yeah. Do you guys have final thoughts?
No, it's great.
No, I think
This one when I watched, I remember thinking, I just have a really simple opinion. Just like, yeah, it's fantastic.
I can't even add anything to that. That's it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, one final thing. So yesterday I was in the city,
We
and
can cut it down.
I got
Star
some
Wars pencil case.
energy drinks for you guys, which
Energy
are
drinks?
Simpsons related.
Oh, that's
Oh my
amazing.
goodness.
So yeah,
I don't want to open this.
you have to drink it on the podcast.
Duff energy drink.
Even if you just share one of them, you have to drink it on the podcast.
So wait, it's not a beer.
No, it's not beer. So yeah, I bought some Duff energy drinks, which the can actually looks like the Duff beer cans in The Simpsons.
This would be a cute thing to keep. Thanks, Fed.
You have to drink it.
Drink it now?
Yes.
I don't want to drink it now. I want to give it to my brother.
No, you have to drink it.
No, I can't.
Why not?
I've got to give it to my brother. He'd love it.
I don't want to open it.
I don't either. This is great.
They were $2 each.
I'm going to have to open this at some point because I'm not going to stall a whole energy drink can on the shelf.
No. What would it even taste like?
I don't know. I don't
beer?
like energy drinks, so I didn't get one.
Should I do it?
Do it.
But I kind of hate energy drinks.
Yeah, I don't drink energy drinks.
Do it.
Should I pour it down the sink if we don't?
No.
Just have a sip each. Ah, he opened it.
Oh,
like that.
Jesus. It smells like sherbet. This is a glowing endorsement. Oh, but so strong.
You haven't even drunken it yet. Yeah.
He's just
Oh,
commenting on the smell, and he spilt a bit on Stefan's bed. Just a drop.
unrefrigerated energy drinks.
Hey, it's cold. It's fine.
Is it good?
Does it taste like Duff beer?
What?
What?
What does it taste like?
This is the first thing I've had today, by the way. I haven't eaten breakfast.
Oh.
Straight to an energy drink. This tastes like anything.
What is it? How does it not taste like anything?
It's kind of like sherbet, like sour lollies.
Oh,
You wanna
okay.
try it?
No, I'm good. I've got this can.
Which you will drink eventually, I presume?
Oh, maybe.
It's kind of flat.
What's been in my bag? So it's been shaking a bit.
I'll tell you what this tastes like. Have you ever had just like a dinner parties and things, when they just have like home brand, when they just have like home brand soft drinks
Yeah.
that are like strawberry mineral water, which they're just soft drinks, but they're branded as like flavored mineral water.
Yeah.
And they just taste all the same.
Yeah, it tastes like that, like mildly fruity soft drink.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how I feel about that.
And with that, we'll end our podcast.
Awesome.
So, yeah, we are on iTunes. We are somehow on a random podcast.
Yeah, we just found out that we're on the podcast app for iOS.
Yep.
We don't know why or how.
But somehow half of our views are coming from that. Even though
Yeah.
we didn't ask to be on that. We are on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're on the podcast hosting site Whooshka. Please give us money. Also Netflix.
Please give us money.
Comment if you like our stuff. Or
It doesn't give us money.
I know. but just give us money, please.
Just mail
That
it.
was the
Say good things
worst-
about you.
That was the worst subliminal messaging I've ever heard.
It
man.
wasn't subliminal. It was
Subliminal,
direct.
just begging.
You should have just said it like in the red room where you go.
Yeah.
What?
In the red room in Twin Peaks.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Everyone talks backwards.
So comment if you want us to talk about something, or if you just want to tell us how good or bad we are. That's fine. I don't really care which one it is.
Drink Duff energy drink if you want something that tastes mildly like home brand mineral water.
Next week, Stefan will be presenting The Garden of Words, which is the previous film that director of Your Name did, I believe.
Yep, one of the previous works by Makoto Shinkai. So look forward to that.
Is it an anime?
Yeah, a lot of rain effects, a lot of beautiful visuals.
Do you have a
and
DVD?
It's only 45 minutes.
Oh, amazing. Oh, it's my favourite.
We might watch the short film that he did with his wife at the very start of his career. It's only 20 minutes, but
What?
we'll see.
So that's still just over an hour,
Yeah,
which
it's
is fine.
But, what was I going to say? Do you have a DVD of it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good.
Okay, and that is all, everyone.
Yay.
You've got a friend in us, I guess. That sounds weird. Bye.
And then the ending is just the
And then
toy.
the ending is the toys coming to life.
You
and
know
him-
what it sounds like? It sounds like one of your gruesome tales for gruesome kids.
Oh, my favourite show. Grizzly Tales for I Hate Myself.
Don't traumatize your toys, otherwise the toys will come alive and murder you.
Yeah, that's every episode of that stupid show.
If you want to know what we're talking about, go back to Invader Zim towards the end.
That's every episode. Just kids being fine. Just kids being kids. And then whatever they have, like, whatever they have, like, a justifiable disdain for, just comes out of the darkness at the end and stabs them. Just, I don't like toys. I like blowing up toys. Oh no, it stabbed me in my sleep. Oh, I don't like my vegetables. Oh, I choked them and then died. My mum's a nudist. Oh, she stabbed me. It's
Okay.
stupid show.